Alright, so we are here setting up the game manager. Now this is actually going to be a fairly complex script. I'm actually going to show you with the game object teleporter script how we can do this. So the first thing we need to do is, we actually need to instance itself. And the way that we do is we say public static, and we have to call the script name itself. In this case it is game manager, and we will say instance. So from there we will start setting everything up like we have in the past. We'll say get, and we are saying if instance, which we don't have an instance in here, so we're actually going to go ahead and create it. Actually I'm going to create it down here since this is where we already have everything. So we're going to say protected static, and this is game manager, and this will just be type of instance. So up here we will then say if it does not equal null, then we will return instance. So the first thing we're doing is as long as it's here, then we're just going to say, okay, get out of this. We're not worried about it. We don't need to run anything else in here. However, if it is null, then we will go ahead and set it to itself. So we'll say find object of type, and the type that we are looking for is game manager. So the next thing we need to do is, if it still returns null, instance it's not equal null. First we need to say we need to say that if it is now here, then we'll go ahead and get out of this. Otherwise we'll say game object, and this will be go ahead and just say game manager for now, which we'll need to create something. I'm trying to think how to explain this. So this is the game object that we are looking for. This is the name I'm giving it. Up here this is a capital G. This is a lowercase g. If I were to give this a capital G, it would not work. If I decide to go ahead and give this a capital G, I'd have to put go in front of it like so. So we'll say new game object. This will just be called game manager. And then we'll say the instance will equal the go game manager dot add component, and the type of component we are adding is game manager. So once we've done all that, we can now return instance, and we are done. So this will basically set everything up for us that we need to do as far as it getting itself and working. I'm trying to think how to explain this. It's basically getting itself, and it's setting itself up so this way it'll always appear. But now we need to destroy it if it's already there. So this is where we create an awake function. If y'all have not seen the difference between awake and start yet, I'll go ahead and explain it. Awake is actually called before start. So think of like waking up. You become awake, and after you wake up, you move around. Well, the start is the next thing you do. What do you do after you move around? Well, you might turn off your alarm, you might take a shower, you might get dressed, whatever. But that's the difference between awake and start. Awake will take place before start ever even occurs. So inside awake, we're going to say if instance. Now, if you notice, I'm using capital I instead of lowercase I. The reason for capital I, because I'm referencing this public static game manager up here. And so I'm going to say if it does not equal this, meaning this whole script, then is what we will do is we will destroy. And what we're going to destroy, we're going to destroy the game object itself. We want to destroy the whole game object. If we just type in this, that means we're just destroying the game object script. We don't want to do that. So we're going to say game object, and then we will return out of this. Next thing we want to say is we want to say do not destroy this, meaning we want to keep the game manager open through every single scene. And the way we do that is by saying don't destroy unload, and the thing we're not destroying, well, itself, game object. So this is all set up now. This is complete. So it will load through all the things. So one of the things I said is up here at the top is one of the things that Neil was going through. He was saying, we were basically talking about how each time you start a new scene, it'll set your current health to your max health. Well, we may not want to do that. That's bad, okay? So actually is what we want to do is we want to come back in here and we're going to actually create a new serialized field, and this will be a serialized field called player health. And inside of player health, let's go ahead and, oh, we already have it in here. Okay, jolly good. So inside of the player health, we're actually going to do a check after it starts. Well, what are we checking for? Well, we want to actually take all of this and we're going to copy it. We will delete it. And we will go and get rid of that extra spacing because we don't need it. I'm actually going to create a new public void starting health. And then we'll just paste all that in here. So what's going to happen, I actually need to check out player health. Go ahead and do that real quick, which is up here. Let's see, player scripts. Somewhere here. There's player scripts. Where is player health at? You'd think I'd have this down by now, but I just don't. So there's player, or that's just attack. So here's player attack, player movement. Down here we have player scripts, but we don't have player health. Am I missing something here? So this will come in here. We'll click on player health, and that is in bar HUD scripts. Okay, that's where I need to be looking. So let me come back in here. Bar HUD scripts, so it's in here. So I'll select both of these. I'll check those out. Hit OK. And let's go ahead and come back into here. In fact, I can go and close this other one out. I don't need it no more. So starting health. That's all set up. And then game managers. What I want to do is I actually want to say ph dot starting health. I'm just going to call that method group. So as soon as this script is done checking itself, it's going to say this is the component it wants to get, and then it's going to assign. It's going to look at the starting health, which will go into player health, and so it'll set the current health to max health, current stamina to max stamina. It'll just do all of this for us. And that's the way we're going to start it. Now, let's say we wanted to set up a save scene where if the player has 50 health, that's what they start off with is 50 health. We could do that, but we're not going to because this is just a lot easier, a lot less time consuming. So we're going to go from there. So that's what this is doing. And if I haven't talked about this yet, I'm going to talk about this now. So this could be a public, this could be private, this could be whatever we want. Serialized field allows us to modify it within the editor. Player health, well, this is the type of variable that we are calling. In this case, we're calling a script. If, say, like right here, here's another script. If we were calling, say, private int itself is a variable. The ph is the name that we are giving that variable. So we have a variable type. In this case, it's player health, which is a script. Then we have the variable name, which is ph. Down here we say ph will equal ph, which is the name, and we will get the component. The component type we are getting is player health. So then we're saying player health, or ph because that's the name we gave it, and we call starting health. So that's how this works out. And specifically, because we are getting all of this, we want to say, actually, let's go ahead and just save this, and we're going to test this out. So theoretically, I should be able to, how do I want to do this? I actually need to use the metric scene and save it as the other. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm actually going to copy the metric scene. So Control C. I'm going to go into Lively Forest. The template scenes. I'm going to paste it in here. It is not pasting. That is okay. So what we will do is we will duplicate it. I'm going to move it into template scenes. And I'm actually going to check out Lively Forest template main. So I'll come in here and I will check out template scenes, Lively Forest template. Well, I see template. I thought this was called template. Oh, it's because I don't have this open. Duh. Lively Forest template main. I'm going to check those out. And then is what I want to do is I'm actually going to copy this whole name, and I will delete this, come in here, paste it, and why is this asking me if I want to save? No, I don't want to save. So now I'm in the Lively Forest template main. This is what we're going to use to actually create everything, but more so over, I also want to go ahead and add in my sides. So I'm going to do that. I think that's what I need to do first, though, is I need to go and create a new Lively Forest template, and this will be called Forest 01, create, and then we're going to have Forest 2, and I'm going to say create. So the reason why I'm doing this, so this way within the scene, I can go ahead and just add these in real quick. So I believe I need to be scripts. So we have these. I could have sworn I had a prefab for these, though. In fact, I know I do. Prefabs. Destination, transition point. So these are the two prefabs I want to add. I'm just going to add them into the scene real quick. Move these. Now, these don't really matter. They can be way back here. They can be up here. The reason why I'm moving them kind of about where the player's at on the Z is so this way, if I'm ever looking at it from dead on, it'll be about where I want it. So the transition point, I'm actually going to make that a little bit larger, just so the player can't try to like jump over it, which we'll also rectify that later on with, we'll actually create walls all the way around it along with the ceiling tile. So now we need to put in a destination, which will be right about here, I think. Yeah, right about there. Probably need to move that over just a little bit more. So I'm going to drag the player to game object. I'm going to click on the transition point. I'm going to do the same thing, drag player over here. And this is Forest 02, so I'm going to say Forest 01. And I'm going to do it that way. Designation transform. Well, should... No, wait, this is going to be a transition point, so this needs to be that. There we go. So now that I've done that, I can go ahead and copy these, and I'm going to go into Forest 01. So let me go into Scenes, and Lively Forest. I'm going to Forest 01. I'm going to save this one, and paste those in here. And paste those in here. There we go. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to move it to right about there. And then I'm just going to click on the transition and move this over here. There we go. So ideally is what should happen is, oh wait, transition point needs to be Forest 02. And then the player can go here, destination, player. Now these will actually be set up in the template scenes, so whenever we create the template scenes, we won't have to do this for every single scene we create. So if you're worried about that, don't be. So what I need to do now is I need to go ahead and, I need to create a game manager. So I'm going to create empty. This is going to be called game manager. And I'll actually need to do this inside the metric scene. So I'll do that after I'm done here. Let's go into scripts. I'm just going to add this on here. Now the player health, we just need to drag the player in here and save it. And then we need to go in. I don't know if we need to go into the other or not. We should probably actually do something like that in here where we actually, how we have it set up here and then we call the instance of it. But we can probably do that inside the other scene just like we're doing within this one. So I'm actually going to come back into the Lively Forest, Forest 02. And let me go ahead and I'm actually going to copy that. I'm going to delete that one off of here. Save. And then I'm going to paste it in here so this way I can just drag this in here. And this way we can double check to make sure it's working. If it's not working, I'll fix it. No biggie. Okay, so we can see that our energy is down. So we'll need the enemy to take damage. So I'm just going to take some damage real quickly. Huh, that is interesting. It is not transitioning me. Do I get an error message? I do get an error message. Ah, okay. So we have an error with the player. Something about bar HUD right there. So we need to add that in here. We should be able to transition now. Why am I not transitioning? So it looks like we actually have ourselves an issue. Let's see, this is Forest 02, so yeah, we should go to Forest 01 like we have it set here. Oh, because this is interact press. We need on trigger enter. There we go. So I'm just going to test this out real quick and make sure that we... Well, first I want dash. I got to have dash. There we go. So right here... Oh, now that is interesting. So you see where she's starting off at? And we're getting another error because we don't have that set up in the health. So let's go back to Forest 01. We're going to save this. The transition point, this needs to be set to on trigger enter. Go here to the player. We're going to add this down here to player movement. Alright, let's see if this works. Where is the transition point? Oh, I'm on Forest 1, that's why. And we have full health again. Alright, so that is kind of working. The only issue that we have with this is right now she's appearing way over here. But we do have the game manager loaded over here, but there's non-player health. And so this is one of the issues I was worried about. And I'll fix that here in just a second. The next thing I want to check is destination. Okay, so it's the destination point that's being our little problem child. This is one of the other reasons why I want to make sure that's lined up. So let's go into here. I'm going to hit save. And we have destination, so we're going to move destination over here where it's about lined up with the player, so that looks right. And in here we're going to say, so this is where we kind of like learn, get this stuff up here. If pH equals null, then is what we'll do is we will say pH dot add. Oh wait, we need to create an instance of. First, we need to come in here and we need to say game object. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We're going to say game object, and this will be player object. And it will equal new game object called player. And then we're actually going to take this and paste it above here. If it equals null, then it's going to do that. And we're also going to create a new well, no, we don't want to create a protected static. Let's go ahead and just do, you know what, screw it. Yeah, let's just go and do a protected static. And this will be called player health. And this is going to be an instance ph. So we have an instance ph, and we're going to say instance ph equals player object, and that will be dot add component. Component we are adding is going to be player health. So let's see if I have done this right. I don't know if I have or not. Okay, so once again, it's still not loading where it needs to. So we actually need to we need to specify that that's where the player is going to go. I'm trying to think of the best way that we can do this. I don't think I can just type in player here. I'm pretty sure I can't. Yeah, see, we actually have to have the player health. But this should look for the player game object to be able to place it in there. Oh, instance ph. I'm actually going to create another line. Instance ph equals find object of type, and the object we're finding is player. So it should run through that line of code, and then it should do the other. Now we won't have dash or ground smash or any of that on the scene transitions, but I'll get that fixed pretty quickly. Okay, game manager, so that one's still the same. So it looks like I have some researching to do, Joy, and hopefully I'll be able to get this working. I should be able to. So until next time, I'll see y'all there.